The mind is an invisible force that shapes reality in ways we often underestimate. Everything we experience, feel, and achieve first passes through the filter of our beliefs, thoughts, and perceptions. It's as if we are wearing invisible glasses, with lenses shaped by the experiences, stories, and impressions accumulated throughout our lives. These lenses determine how we see the world, others, and ourselves. The most striking thing is that we often don't even realize we're wearing them. Think of a moment when you felt limited, unable to achieve something you deeply desired. Perhaps it was the fear of not being good enough or the belief that certain opportunities simply weren't meant for you. These limitations rarely come from external sources. Most of the time, they are rooted in unconscious beliefs we carry, often without questioning. But there's something powerful about this dynamic. If these beliefs shape our reality, they can also be transformed. The mind is not a rigid, unchangeable system. It is malleable, adaptable, and can be reprogrammed. This reprogramming is not just a poetic idea but a real possibility supported by ancient philosophies and modern scientific discoveries. When we learn to identify and rewrite the patterns that limit us, we open the door to a life more aligned with who we truly are and what we want to create. The premise is simple yet transformative. What we believe, consciously or unconsciously, determines how we live. And if we can change what we believe, we can change our lives. It all starts with the willingness to look inward, question the stories we tell ourselves, and embrace the possibility that reality is not a fixed fact but a reflection of what we project onto it. The mental patterns that shape our lives don't come from nowhere. They originate in our experiences, especially those in childhood, when our minds are in their most receptive state. During these formative years, we are like sponges, absorbing beliefs, values, and narratives from those around us. Parents, caregivers, teachers, and other authority figures. Every experience, whether positive or negative, leaves a mark that contributes to how we view the world and our place in it. If you grew up hearing that the world is dangerous or that success only comes with extreme sacrifice, it's likely that these beliefs still influence your decisions today, even unconsciously. This process continues throughout life, reinforced by cultural and social influences. Society bombards us with messages about who we should be, what we should desire, and how we should behave. Narratives from media, friends, and institutions shape our mental patterns, often without us realizing it. The power of the subconscious is a central element in this scenario. It's estimated that about 95% of the time, we operate based on automatic mental processes driven by the subconscious. This means our decisions, emotional reactions, and even the opportunities we perceive or ignore are influenced by beliefs that aren't always on the radar of our conscious mind. The subconscious is like software running behind the scenes, influencing every aspect of our experience. These beliefs are not inherently good or bad, they simply exist. Some empower us, pushing us to grow and explore, while others act as invisible barriers, limiting our possibilities. The central question is, how many of these beliefs have you consciously chosen? And how many were implanted by circumstances you never questioned? Understanding how these beliefs are formed is the first step toward transforming them. It's not about blaming the past but recognizing that we are more than the narratives we inherited. We are beings capable of rewriting our stories, redefining our perspectives, and consciously shaping what we want to believe. And this is where the true power of the mind begins to reveal itself. Throughout history, philosophical and spiritual practices have explored the potential of the mind to shape our reality, offering insights that remain relevant even in the modern era. These traditions, though diverse in their origins and methods, share a fundamental understanding. The power to transform our lives begins with how we choose to think and react to the world. The Stoics, for instance, were masters of managing the mind. They believed that while we cannot control external events, we have complete power over how we interpret and react to them. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This simple yet profound idea teaches us that suffering often does not come from circumstances but from how our minds process them. Through this philosophy, we learn that inner peace is a choice, not a reflection of external conditions. Hermeticism, another ancient spiritual tradition, introduces the idea that the universe is mental. This principle, known as the law of mentalism, suggests that everything begins in the mind, not just our perceptions but also the forces that shape our reality. According to this view, the mind is both the creator and reflector of experience, and mastering its patterns is key to transforming the world around us. These teachings resonate with the modern understanding of the mind and mental reprogramming. They remind us that the way we think is not an inevitable consequence of our environment but something that can be shaped, refined, and aligned with our deepest values. Mental reprogramming in this context is not a recent invention. It is the continuation of a timeless human quest for self-mastery and expanded awareness. Furthermore, these philosophies offer practical guides for transformation. Stoicism suggests practices like daily reflection and emotional detachment, helping us cultivate resilience and clarity. Hermeticism inspires us to see life as a reflection of the mind, encouraging us to pay attention to the quality of our thoughts and intentions. These spiritual and philosophical traditions, therefore, not only explain the power of the mind but also equip us with tools to use it consciously. They invite us to explore the potential of our minds, not just as a reflection of circumstances but as the starting point for personal and spiritual transformation. Modern science has taken this a step further by revealing that the human brain is incredibly malleable, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. This transformative concept shows that, contrary to past beliefs, the brain is neither fixed nor static. It is dynamic, constantly changing and adapting based on the experiences, thoughts, and practices we cultivate. In other words, we can literally rewire our brains throughout our lives. Neuroplasticity provides a scientific foundation for mental reprogramming. Every time we think in a certain way, react to a stimulus, or practice a behavior, we strengthen specific neural connections. Imagine these connections as trails in a field. The more you walk along the same trail, the more defined it becomes. This can be beneficial for positive habits, but it also means negative patterns such as self-critical thoughts or limiting beliefs can become deeply ingrained and difficult to avoid. The good news is that the brain is capable of creating new pathways. When we introduce conscious practices such as meditation, positive affirmations, or gratitude exercises, we are essentially beginning to carve out new trails. Over time and with repetition, these trails can become stronger, replacing the old ones. This means that even if we have deeply ingrained limiting mental patterns, we have the power to change them. Practices like meditation, for example, have demonstrated their ability to reshape the brain. Studies show that it can increase the density of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain associated with attention, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Similarly, creative visualization, imagining desired scenarios with vivid detail, activates the same areas of the brain that would be used if you were actually experiencing that event. It's as if the brain can't distinguish between the real and the imagined, allowing you to start living the transformation internally before it manifests externally. Neuroplasticity also reminds us that change requires practice and consistency. Just like a muscle needs regular exercise to grow stronger, the brain needs continuous stimuli to develop new patterns. Small daily actions such as shifting a negative thought, practicing gratitude, or dedicating 5 minutes to meditation have a cumulative impact that can transform how we think and live. Understanding neuroplasticity is realizing that we are not prisoners of our mental patterns. We have the power at any point in our lives to learn, grow, and evolve. The brain is a reflection of our choices. The more conscious we are of them, the more intentional our transformation will be. Cultures around the world, both ancient and modern, have developed profound practices to access and transform the mind. These techniques, often passed down through generations, demonstrate the power to reconfigure mental patterns and connect us to our highest potential. Let's explore some of these practices that integrate ancient wisdom and modern insights, creating a pathway for mental reprogramming. One of the most powerful tools is creative visualization, a practice that involves imagining desired scenarios with as much clarity as possible. When you visualize what you want, whether it's a goal, an emotional state, or an inner transformation, as if it's already real, you create a powerful impression on your subconscious mind. This technique isn't just mental. It activates areas of the brain associated with motivation and action, aligning your thoughts with your behaviors. Ancient cultures, such as the Egyptians and Tibetans, used visualization in rituals and spiritual practices, understanding its power to materialize intentions. Positive affirmations are another widely used method to reprogram limiting beliefs. They work by repeating phrases that reinforce constructive and empowering ideas. For instance, replacing "I can't do this" with "I am capable of learning and growing" begins to alter subconscious patterns that shape your self-perception. The key to successful affirmations lies in consistency and emotional connection. The more you believe and feel the words you're saying, the more deeply they take root. The practice of meditation and mindfulness offers a direct pathway to accessing and influencing the subconscious. By bringing full attention to the present moment, you create a space to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. This practice not only quiets mental noise but also enables you to identify and release patterns that no longer serve you. Eastern cultures, such as Indian and Japanese traditions, have developed sophisticated forms of meditation, like transcendental meditation and zazen, that remain powerful tools for mental transformation. Another ancient practice is the use of mantras and vibrational sounds. The repetition of specific sounds, such as Om or other sacred mantras, creates a resonance that affects both the mind and body. These sounds help calm the nervous system, align energy, and disrupt deeply rooted mental patterns. Modern studies on sound vibrations reveal that the frequency of certain sounds can influence brain activity, harmonizing thoughts and emotions. These practices are more than techniques. They are gateways to accessing the deeper layers of the mind. When combined with intention and regularity, they create a solid foundation for mental reprogramming. Transformation occurs not because we change who we are but because we begin to reveal the limitless potential that has always been within us. Gratitude is often underestimated, yet it holds the power to radically transform how we perceive life and relate to the world. When we cultivate gratitude, we're not just acknowledging the good things that happen to us, we are literally rewiring our minds and changing the energy we emit and receive. Modern science offers fascinating insights into how gratitude affects the brain. Studies show that expressing gratitude activates the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain associated with decision-making, planning, and emotional regulation. This practice also stimulates the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which are crucial for well-being and happiness. Essentially, gratitude is not just an emotional state but a neurobiological tool that can enhance our mental and emotional health. In the realm of spirituality, gratitude is seen as a way to elevate our vibrational state. When we focus on what we have and value rather than what is lacking, our energy shifts. This change creates a positive resonance that attracts more experiences and people aligned with this state. It's no coincidence that so many spiritual traditions, from Buddhism to Christianity, emphasize the practice of gratitude as a way to connect with the divine and the abundance of the universe. Incorporating gratitude into our lives can start with small daily practices. One of the most effective is simply recording 3 things you are grateful for each day. These moments don't need to be grand. They can be as simple as the morning breeze, a friend's smile, or the comfort of a meal. Writing them down reinforces these experiences in the mind and creates a habit of focusing on the positive. Another powerful approach is reframing. When we face challenges or difficult moments, gratitude invites us to look for the hidden lessons in those situations. For example, a loss might teach resilience, or a failure might open the door to new opportunities. This process of finding something to be thankful for, even in adversity, doesn't eliminate pain but helps us navigate it with greater balance and perspective. Gratitude can also be amplified through simple rituals, like taking a moment of silence before a meal to reflect on the food and the people who made it possible, or directly expressing thanks to someone for their impact on your life. These acts not only strengthen our connection to the present but also create ripples of positivity that spread to others. Ultimately, gratitude reminds us of something profound. Even amid life's impermanence and uncertainty, there is always something to value. When we cultivate this state of mind, we not only transform our thinking but also create a richer life aligned with what truly matters. While we can consciously work to reprogram our minds, we cannot overlook the significant influence our environment has on our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. External programming, what we consume, observe, and experience daily, shapes our mental patterns in ways that often go unnoticed. One of the most impactful forces of this programming is the media. News, social media, movies, and even casual conversations carry messages that can reinforce limiting beliefs or create new narratives in our minds. Consider how social media often promotes ideals of perfection, beauty, success, happiness that can make us feel inadequate. These messages, absorbed repeatedly, begin to form neural pathways that lead us to compare, judge, and often diminish our self-esteem. Moreover, advertising and subliminal messages are specifically designed to influence our subconscious. Often, we are persuaded to believe we need something to be happy or complete. While this fuels a consumption-driven economy, it can also create a cycle of dissatisfaction where we are constantly searching externally for what can only truly be found within. The external environment is not just about what we passively consume but also about the people and places we connect with. Our social interactions have a profound impact on our mental patterns. Words of encouragement and support from those close to us can nurture our confidence, while frequent criticism or negativity can reinforce limiting beliefs. The physical environment, whether chaotic or tranquil, stressful or welcoming, also shapes our mental state. Given the power of this external programming, it is essential to become more conscious and selective about what we allow into our minds. This begins with the practice of filtering information. We can make intentional choices about the type of content we consume, opting for messages that uplift and inspire us. For example, instead of aimlessly scrolling through social media, we can choose to follow creators who share wisdom, positivity, and learning. Limiting exposure to toxic media is another valuable practice. Setting aside moments for technological disconnection allows our minds to rest and regain clarity. During these periods, we can turn to activities that promote inner growth, such as reading, meditation, or moments of silence. More importantly, we must cultivate an internal environment of discernment. When we encounter a message that provokes fear, doubt, or comparison, we can ask ourselves, is this idea truly mine? Or is it something I absorbed without questioning? Training our minds to ask these questions helps us reclaim our mental and emotional autonomy. Creating an environment that supports our transformation requires conscious choices. It's a dance between what we allow in and what we choose to nurture. At the center of this dance lies our power to consciously select what brings us closer to our true selves. Emotions play a critical role in shaping our beliefs and experiences in life. They are like internal compasses, signaling what resonates with or challenges our mental and spiritual state. While often seen as something to control or overcome, emotions, when understood and integrated, become powerful catalysts for deep change. Every emotion carries a message. For example, sadness may point to something we value and have lost, while anger may signal a violation of our boundaries. However, when emotions like fear or shame remain unacknowledged, they can reinforce negative beliefs and limit our growth. Often, these emotions lie buried in our subconscious, shaping our choices and reactions without our awareness. The first step in transforming emotions into allies is conscious identification. This means learning to recognize and name what we are feeling without judgment. Asking yourself, what exactly am I feeling right now? Opens a space to explore the origin of the emotion. It might be an echo of a past experience or a reaction to something that needs attention in the present. Simply acknowledging an emotion reduces its power to dominate us and allows us to choose how to respond. To manage difficult emotions, practices like conscious breathing are profoundly effective. When we feel overwhelmed, breathing slowly and deeply helps regulate the nervous system, reducing the fight or flight response and bringing us back to the present moment. This state of calm is essential for reflecting on the emotion without being swept away by it. Another powerful tool is emotional journaling, where we record our feelings and the events that triggered them. Writing allows us to explore emotional patterns and understand how certain thoughts and circumstances are connected to our reactions. Over time, this practice helps us develop clarity and empathy for ourselves, transforming challenging emotions into opportunities for growth. Emotions are not enemies, they are teachers. Even those we would prefer to avoid have something to teach us. Fear can reveal where we need to grow, while shame can point to parts of ourselves we have yet to accept. When we face these emotions with courage and compassion, we begin to transform the negative beliefs associated with them. Emotional self-awareness also empowers us to create new narratives about who we are. Instead of being defined by a fleeting emotion or repetitive emotional patterns, we can use them as gateways to deeper understanding of our psyche. This process of transforming emotions into wisdom not only frees us from limiting patterns but also connects us to a richer and more authentic life. Ask yourself, what emotions do you tend to avoid or ignore? And how could you begin to embrace them as part of your transformation journey? One of the most challenging yet transformative parts of mental reprogramming is confronting what Carl Jung called the shadow. The shadow represents those aspects of ourselves we prefer to hide or deny, traits, desires, fears, or impulses we consider unacceptable. However, the process of integrating the shadow is not about rejection or elimination. It is a journey to recognize and accept the totality of who we are. We all carry a shadow, and the more we deny its existence, the more power it exerts over our lives. When we reject parts of ourselves, these energies often manifest unconsciously, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we don't understand. The shadow also projects onto others. What we judge, criticize, or avoid in others often reflects aspects of ourselves we have not accepted. Recognizing the shadow is an act of courage. It means looking inward and exploring areas that may be uncomfortable or even painful. But it is in this confrontation that true transformation lies. Instead of viewing the shadow as something to fight, Jung encourages us to see it as an essential part of our wholeness. After all, we cannot be complete without integrating both the light and the dark within us. The first step in working with the shadow is non-judgmental self-observation. Ask yourself, what traits or behaviors in me do I reject? What judgments do I frequently make about others? These reflections offer valuable clues about the aspects of your shadow that are asking to be seen. Dreams, fantasies, and intense emotional reactions also serve as entry points for this exploration. A powerful practice for integrating the shadow is the emotional mirror exercise. When you feel irritated or upset by someone else, ask, what does this say about me? Is there something in this situation that reflects something I repress or fear in myself? This type of introspection may be uncomfortable but is also incredibly liberating. It transforms judgments into opportunities for learning and self-compassion. Integrating the shadow does not mean becoming a victim of our weaknesses or impulses. It means learning to accept them as part of our humanity. When we embrace our shadow, it loses its control over us. Instead of projecting it or acting unconsciously, we can channel its energy creatively and consciously. Shadow work is an essential step in mental reprogramming because many of our limiting beliefs are rooted in the fear of facing who we truly are. Integrating the shadow is like opening a door to authenticity and freedom, allowing us to live more fully and aligned with our true selves. Ask yourself, what parts of yourself have you been avoiding? And how might it feel to start looking at them with curiosity and compassion? After identifying and reprogramming limiting mental patterns, the next step is to translate these new beliefs into concrete actions. Thoughts are powerful, but it is in practical application in the real world where transformation truly happens. The reprogrammed mind is the foundation, but it is the actions aligned with this new mindset that build the reality we desire. The first step in transforming thoughts into actions is setting clear and intentional goals. Ask yourself, based on the beliefs I am cultivating, what do I want to create or achieve? These goals should be specific and aligned with the new mental patterns you are developing. For example, if you are reprogramming a belief that you deserve abundance, a practical goal might be to create a plan to advance in your career or start a creative project you've been postponing. Creating consistent routines and practices is another crucial element. The reprogrammed mind needs reinforcement, and this happens through daily habits. Small actions, repeated regularly, build momentum that transforms intentions into results. For instance, if you are cultivating a mindset of confidence, you could practice a daily habit of speaking in public or sharing your ideas in a safe environment. These actions may seem small, but they solidify new beliefs. Active visualization is a practice that directly connects thoughts to actions. Before performing a task or pursuing a goal, dedicate a few minutes to imagining yourself doing it successfully. Visualize the details, the sensations, reactions, and results. This exercise not only strengthens the neural connections associated with new beliefs but also reduces internal resistance and increases your motivation to act. It is also important to measure your progress and celebrate small victories. Each step forward, no matter how small it may seem, is a sign that your transformation is taking shape in the material world. Recognizing these advances creates a positive reinforcement cycle, boosting your confidence and strengthening your determination. Finally, remember that actions aligned with transformed beliefs may require courage. Change often means stepping out of your comfort zone and facing fears or uncertainties. But it is precisely in this space of vulnerability that growth occurs. Every bold action, every intentional choice, is an affirmation of your commitment to evolution. Ask yourself, what actions can you start taking today to align your life with the beliefs you are reprogramming? What small step can mark the beginning of this transformation? Reprogramming the mind is a process that requires integration and persistence. It is not an instant transformation but an ongoing journey, much like cultivating a garden. Each adjusted thought, repeated practice, and aligned action are seeds planted, and the time and care you dedicate determine how vibrant this garden will become. The first lesson in this process is accepting that it has no endpoint. There will always be new patterns to adjust, new shadows to integrate, and new goals to pursue. This constant journey should not be seen as a burden but as an opportunity for infinite evolution. The human mind, like life itself, is dynamic, always responding to new experiences and contexts. Recognizing this helps us approach the process with patience and humility. Small daily actions are the foundation of persistence. We often underestimate the impact of seemingly insignificant habits, but it is through them that lasting changes are made. Dedicating just a few minutes each day to practices like meditation, journaling, or active visualization might seem modest, but these moments build the foundation for a new way of being. It's like watering plants every day. The growth may not be visible immediately, but it is happening. Integration also demands flexibility and self-acceptance. Not every day will be perfect, and there will be moments when old mental patterns resurface. This doesn't mean you've failed. It simply means the subconscious is being challenged. In such moments, self-compassion is crucial. Reminding yourself of the reasons behind this journey and recommitting to your chosen practices helps strengthen your resilience. An essential aspect of persistence is external support. Surrounding yourself with people, communities, or content that reinforce your intentions can be a game changer. Sharing experiences, seeking inspiration, and receiving encouragement create an environment that makes transformation easier to sustain. This also helps maintain focus, especially during moments when motivation wanes. The metaphor of the garden is helpful in visualizing integration. Just as plants need light, water, and rich soil to grow, your mind needs consistent practices, nurturing thoughts, and an environment that supports its flourishing. And just as a gardener adjusts their care according to the seasons, you too must be willing to adapt your practices to life's changes. Ask yourself, what seeds are you planting in your mind today? How can you care for them with patience and intention, knowing that each small act contributes to a future harvest? At the core of the entire process of mental reprogramming is the power of choice. Every thought we nurture, every action we take, and every practice we integrate is a manifestation of our free will. It is a constant reminder that, even in the face of the most challenging circumstances, we have the ability to decide how we react and how we shape our reality. Stoic philosophy offers a valuable perspective on the role of choice. For the Stoics, life is divided into two categories: what is within our control and what is not. While we cannot control external events, we can control how we think about and react to them. This distinction is liberating because it teaches us to focus our energy on what truly matters: our internal choices. By choosing thoughts and actions aligned with our values, we affirm our autonomy and cultivate a purposeful life. This idea also resonates with Taoism, which teaches us to harmonize our choices with the flow of life. Instead of resisting circumstances or trying to forcefully shape them, Taoism invites us to act with awareness and ease, like a river flowing around stones, finding its path without unnecessary effort. True mastery, according to this philosophy, lies not in controlling everything but in wisely choosing when to act and when to allow. The choice to reprogram the mind is an affirmation of freedom. It is the recognition that, while we may have inherited beliefs or lived through challenging experiences, we are not defined by them. We have the power to question, unlearn, and recreate. Every time we choose to replace a limiting belief with an expansive possibility, we reclaim our autonomy and create a future that reflects our deepest aspirations. This freedom, however, comes with responsibility. To choose consciously means to be present, attentive, and willing to take ownership of our lives. It's not about striving for perfection but about embracing authenticity. This requires courage to confront our shadows, resilience to persist in transformative practices, and humility to accept that we are always learning. The beauty of free will lies in its simplicity. We don't need to make grand decisions every day. Often, it is the smaller choices that have the most lasting impact. Choosing gratitude over complaint. Choosing acceptance over resistance. Choosing to take one small step toward our goals, even if the path still seems long. Ask yourself, how can you use the power of choice today to align your mind and actions with who you want to be? What small gestures can become the beginning of a greater transformation? As we conclude this journey of reflection, it's important to remember that the power to reprogram the mind is not reserved for a select few. It is available to everyone, a potential waiting to be recognized and explored. Life does not come with a manual or a predefined meaning. Instead, it offers us the opportunity and the challenge to create our own narratives, shape our own purpose, and become who we truly want to be. The mind is both the battlefield and the tool for transformation. Through it, we face doubts, fears, and limitations, but we also create possibilities, build dreams, and manifest new realities. What we learn throughout this process is that we are, in fact, the authors of our own stories. Even when we cannot control the external plot, we always have the freedom to choose how we interpret and respond to the experiences life brings us. Albert Camus once wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." Reprogramming the mind is exactly that, an act of rebellion against inherited narratives that no longer serve us, against limiting patterns that imprison us. It is an affirmation that even in the face of challenges, we have the ability to change, grow, and live more aligned with our essence. However, this transformation does not happen passively. It requires conscious action, persistence, and patience. It is a dance between intention and effort, where each small step contributes to a larger change. And like any dance, there will be moments of missteps, times when old patterns attempt to return. In those moments, remember that transformation is a process, not a destination. Every attempt is valid, every effort counts. The final message is this: you don't need to wait for the perfect moment or a sudden burst of inspiration to begin. Transformation starts now with the small steps you can take today. Recognize your beliefs, choose your practices, honor your progress. Your mind is fertile ground, and every decision is a seed you plant for the future. If this message resonated with you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear these words. In the comments, tell us, what is the first step you are ready to take to reprogram your mind? Your journey can inspire others to begin theirs. Remember, you have the power to transform your life, one thought, one action, and one choice at a time. Thank you for being here, and until our next encounter.